This is Vaijanti Patil from Turbe MPS. Today we are going to discuss the overall chapter of environmental management along with the evaluation part. Okay, so in this chapter we have studied about weathers. We all know the weather depends on the prevailing condition of the air at that particular time. Whatever the atmospheric conditions are present at a particular time, at a particular place, is referred to as weather. See, for example, if I talk about Navi Mumbai, in certain part it might be raining, in certain part it might be a sunny day. Okay, like say if there is raining in Vashi, there are no rain in Sanpada or in Airoli. So in a particular area, even in the same state, even within the same city, the prevailing atmospheric conditions differ from time to time. So, whatever the atmospheric conditions are present at a particular time in a particular area are referred to as weather. Then we have discussed about climate. What is climate? It is a long term effect. It is the average of daily readings of various weather related parameters that are recorded for several years. As we have seen, weather is the atmospheric condition at a particular place for a particular time, whereas climate is the atmospheric condition for several years and it is recorded for many years, and then average is taken from which the climate of particular area is declared. For example, if we talk about the states like Jammu Kashmir, there we have snow capped areas, so the climate over there is colder. As we come down in the central part, in the plains, the climate is hot. Whereas if we come near the coastal areas like Maharashtra, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, here due to the proximity of the ocean, the humidity or the moisture content of the air is high, as well as the temperature is also slightly high. Hence, this area shows hot and humid climate. Okay, so this is the average of the atmospheric conditions for several years, which is known as the climate of that particular area. As you can see in this, okay, in the polar region, say in the north and south, Arctic and Antarctic area, there are snow capped areas, so the temperature over there is low. Whereas as we come down in the European countries, they are the temperate zones where the temperature is slightly low than the equatorial area. Okay, equatorial area is where there is direct sunlight, and hence the temperature over here is comparatively higher. So that is called the climatic conditions. Then in this part, we have discussed about various weather related factors or the climatic factors. What were they? They are atmospheric pressure, sunlight, presence of cloud, humidity, that is moisture content in the air, amount of rainfall. We all know, if we take the example of Maharashtra, in the areas like Usmanabad, there is low rainfall. Okay, they are also known as rain shadow areas. Whereas if we come towards coastal area, there is good rainfall. Okay, so the amount of rainfall also differs, which decides, which helps in deciding the climate in that particular area. Again, there is visibility, then the temperature of particular area. All these factors are considered in the study of weather and climatic conditions. Then we have studied about importance of climate. We all know the human progress is related to the conducive climate and the geography of that particular area, because all the things like shelter, clothing of the particular people, food that is being consumed by the people, occupation that is carried out by the people, it all differs from the particular, it differs along with the differing geographical and the climatic conditions in the particular area. And even we all know that in India we have three seasons like summer, winter, and rainy season or the monsoons. So according to these three changing climatic conditions, we have scheduled our things, like especially the agricultural activities or the fishing activities that is related to food production. So all this depends on the climatic condition, and based on the climate of particular area, the researchers or the boards of authority have prepared a particular schedule. Like we all know that we have the varieties of crops like rabi crops and kharif crops. Okay, so for that all, climate is essential. As I said, it plays very important role in food, clothing, and shelter of the and the occupation of the people. Then climate also plays very important role as the direction and the speed of wind, temperature, atmospheric pressure. All these factors are considered during developing the developing or planning for development of particular area, while construction of runways, seaports, huge bridges, or the skyscrapers. The climatic condition of that particular area is studied and accordingly planning is carried out. Then all the natural phenomena like the oceanic currents, then formation of waves, water cycle or the nutrient cycle, all these also depend on the climatic factors. Now, if we talk about the evaluation part on the weather and climate concepts, the question that is given in your exercises, give example of the importance of climate in living world with explanation in your own words. I would request all the students to please take the screenshot of this slide so that you can write the answers in your book. Now see, first what you'll do here, you'll first define what is climate. Climate is defined as weather condition which has prevailed in a region over a long duration of time. Then you will write down the points of how climate is important, because it depending upon the climatic condition, the basic needs like food, clothing, and shelter, as well as occupation of the people living in particular climatic zone differs. Okay. For example, if we talk about food, the people living in the colder area would consume the food which liberates more heat, like ghee, then sesame oil, and all these things are consumed by the people living in the colder area. Whereas people living in the hotter area, they will have the diet which has cooling properties. Okay, like eating salads or the other things which are cool. Then if we talk about the type of vegetation, that is biodiversity, type of vegetation, animals, birds, insects that are residing in the particular area, it also differs according to the climatic conditions. Then for example, if we sort an example over here, the polar bears, we can see polar bears only in the polar region where there is snow capped area. Okay, like we can see penguins in the polar region. or in the temperate region. We cannot see that in the equatorial belt or in the desert. If we talk about desert area, camels or the cactus plants, thorny plants, these are seen majorly in the desert area or the area where there is low water content. Okay, the camels cannot live in polar region. So that is how the climate also has effect on the biodiversity of the particular area. Then we have also heard about the uh, global warming and its disastrous effect. We all know that any change in the climatic condition directly affects the existence of all the living organism in that particular area. So that is how the climate is important. So now here, whatever examples are given, you can change your examples over here. You can put on your examples also, how the biodiversity or how the clothing pattern changes from the different climatic zones. You can also give such examples. So this part of examples, you can write it in your own words with your own examples. But you'll start it with the definition of the climate and write the importance of the climate. Then the second question is about difference between weather and climate. So here we know that weather is a short-term effect. It is the condition at specific point of a time at a specific place. Okay. And it also changes day by day. It changes minute by minute, or it also changes seasonally. Whereas climate is somewhat constant. It is an average weather conditions over a place and mostly takes place over 30 years period. Okay. We talk about weather. It involves one condition of an atmosphere, suppose rain or sun or the fog. Okay. Whereas climate, it involves all the factors. It is average of all the factors. When we talk about weather, it is a short-term effect, whereas climate, it is a long-time effect. Weather condition changes on daily basis, whereas climatic conditions changes with a long period of time and how we are dealing with the environment. Then the scientific study of weather is known as meteorology, whereas the scientific study of climate is known as climatology. The person who studies the weather is known as meteorologist, whereas the person who studies climate is called as climatologist. Whatever the question answers or the evaluation part I'm telling, I would request all the students to take the screenshot so that you can write these answers. Then the next concept that we have studied in this chapter was meteorology. Meteorology is a branch of science that studies the interrelationships between various components of environment. It studies the natural cycle, it studies the geological movement of earth, it studies the climatic condition, that is temperature and the other things of the, and also the air pressure, air wind speed, and all these things are considered by the meteorological department. For this, they have set up various observatories with a well-equipped labs where daily recording of these parameters is done. Okay. Now, it also studies the changing atmospheric conditions such as storms, cloud, rainfall, thunder, lightning. Okay. And depending on such study, these meteorological departments give the weather forecast. We have studied about the Indian Meteorological Department. This was first founded in 1875 at Shimla. It was done by Britishers after the famine of droughts in the year of 1876 and 77. The meteorological departments were established to study the changing climatic conditions so that the government could plan of the activities, various activities to be carried out. Okay. Now, along with the head office in Shimla, there were various head offices or the regional offices established in Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, Nagpur, and Delhi to spread the awareness about the climate and the climate change. 23rd March, the day on which the first World Meteorological Department was established. That day is celebrated as World Meteorological Day. On this day, various activities are being conducted to spread the awareness regarding climate, weather, and the changes that are taking place, and what steps are needed to be taken to so that we can somehow control these changes or can reduce the damage that has been caused to the environment by the human activities. Remember the day, that is 23rd March. It is the day when World Meteorological Department was set. Then the work done by Indian Meteorological Department. Here we have studied that they through the various instruments, through the observatories, they study the different parameters that are sunlight, temperature, rainfall, snowfall, humidity. All these factors are studied on regular basis. Then with the help of even with the help of satellites that are being sent in this space to study the changing climatic conditions, that is the atmospheric pressure, the wind pressure, whether the cyclones are being developed, and all these factors are studied. And within 24 hours, the maps are prepared and they are published twice in the day. And then that maps are being given out to different departments to spread the awareness, okay, or to awaken the people about the upcoming climatic conditions. Now, all these predictions are done with the help of specialized instruments, then satellites, and the observatories that are being set up in different areas. Indian Meteorological Department provides important information regarding weather, climatic conditions to the aviation, shipping industry, agricultural industry, fisheries, and the general people. Okay. Now, why is this needed? We all know whenever there is a bad climate, the flights are cancelled or they are late. Similarly, if the oceanic currents are strong, if the low pressure belt is developed in the ocean, the boats are taken out of the water and they are landed in the safer places. Fishermen are not allowed to go for fishing. See, we all know that during monsoon, from the month end, from the end of May till the Narali Purnima, that is till the September. The fishermen are not allowed to go in the ocean because the currents in the ocean are very strong. So to lower down the damage that would be caused to the life of those fishermen, they are not allowed. Okay. Then it is very important for the agricultural industry, as when to sow the seeds, when to harvest the crops. If there is heavy rainfall, they can carry out various processes to protect the growing crops and all. So for all these purpose, whatever information or whatever predictions are being done by meteorological department are very important. Okay, then information regarding the natural calamities. like dust storms, sandstorms, cyclones, heavy rainfalls, tsunami, or the stronger waves, high tides and low tides, cyclones, hailstones, snowfall. All this is predicted. All these factors are studied, and the predictions or the forecasting of the weather is done by the meteorological department, so that the loss or the damage to the life of the people can be reduced to certain extent as much as possible. Then in this part, we have also studied different models of weather predictions that were developed by the meteorological department. In India, when the meteorological department was set up, the first model that was used was monsoon model, which was done by the founder of the meteorological department. He used to study the parameter that was considered during that time was the amount of snowfall in the Himalayan ranges. Based on the snowfall in the Himalayan ranges, the weather predictions of that particular year was carried out. Whereas after that, the MD of the meteorological department, he developed the method in which he considered the different parameters, not only the snowfall, but he considered few other parameters also, and compared it with the world meteorological department factors, and then predicted the climatic conditions in India. Whereas after many years, that is since 1997 to 2019, the method developed by Vasant Govarikar, the Indian scientist, was used, in which he observed the 16 different parameters of the climate, then comparing those with the world climatic conditions, and then prediction of the Indian monsoon was carried out. This was known as monsoon model. As the science has progressed, the development of technology has taken place, new methods of weather forecast was developed, and that was the mathematical model or the dynamic model. Here, the mathematic derivations were developed to calculate the climatic conditions or the changing climatic condition. Help of the technology like the supercomputer, Param supercomputer was taken to calculate all these things, and then the weather prediction was done. After few years, the statistical model was developed, in which, along with the study of the different parameters, comparative study with the help of graphs and charts was done. Comparative study in the sense of years, say from 2000, say from 1997 till 2015, what was the amount of rainfall, what was the amount of temperature. The graphs are drawn, and comparison in is done, how the temperature or the amount of rainfall is changing from that year to this year present situation. That is studied on the basis of comparison with the statistical charts, that is known as statistical model. And now currently the holistic model is being used. What is holistic model? It is the model in which all these factors are considered. Say 16 parameters, comparing it with the Indian monsoons, using the mathematical derivations, preparing the preparing the statistical charts, and then forecasting the weather is done in the holistic model. So now in the current situation, holistic model is used for the weather predictions. This is what we have studied in the meteorology. Now the questions based on this, first is complete the statements by choosing the correct options. You can just take a screenshot of this of abiotic factors that affect biodiversity. By far the most important is geographic favorability, a description of climatic conditions of short duration in a particular area is weather. Irrespective of progress of human beings, we have to think about climate. Establishment where various climatic factors are recorded are called observatories. Okay, now this is what you can also get as MCQ. So please take the screenshot of this slide. Then the next question is you get write short notes. Write a short note on meteorology. Here you have to first define what is meteorology. Okay, it is the scientific study of weather related factors for prediction of climatic condition is known as meteorology. It studies the interrelationship between various components of air, natural cycle, geological movements of earth. It includes study of storms, cloud, rainfall. Okay, it includes the study of storm, clouds, rainfall, thunder, lightnings, etc. Depending upon this, weather forecast is done, which is useful for common people, farmers, fisheries, aviation service, water transport, and the other organization. Then you can also mention about when was the World Meteorological Department established. It was done on 23rd of March 1950. If we talk about Indian Meteorological Department, it was founded by Britishers in 1875 at the head with the head office at Shimla. So these all are the points that you can include in your short note. You can get these questions for 2 marks. Then you have the short note on climatic factors. Okay, here you will first define what is climate. It is defined as the average condition expected at a certain place over a certain number of years. Okay, it keeps on changing continuously. Then it affects the basic needs like food, clothing, and shelter of the people. It is the mean value of the temperature, rainfall, humidity, etc. Climatic factors are considered during constructions of runways, seaport, huge bridges, and skyscrapers. Here you can sort an example. For example, desert areas have hot climate. This is because the mean temperature over the year of span 20 to 25 year remains high. So the temperatures are high. Okay, so this is the short note. You all can take the screenshot of this so that you can write it in the book. Then you can also get a short note on monsoon model. I just discussed it with you. Monsoon model was first developed by the uh, founder of the Indian Institute of Meteorology after the famine of 1877. It was done by H.F. Balfour. For the first time, he considered the parameter of snowfall in the Himalayan ranges for the prediction. Then, after the decade, that is in 1930s, the director of Indian Meteorological Department, that is Sir Gilbert Walker.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Sorry, teacher, sorry.
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay. Then based on the available observations and previous recording, the hypothesis regarding the nature of monsoon is made. After many decades, see from 1930, it was followed The monsoon model that was developed by Sir Gilbert Walker was followed, whereas in the decade of 1990s, the method developed by Dr. Vasant Gowarikar, an Indian scientist who developed the new monsoon model, where he studied the 16 worldwide parameters to study the Indian monsoon or to predict the Indian monsoon. And this model was followed from 1990s to 2002. So this short note also you can get. You can just take the screenshot of this slide. Then the third part that we have studied in this chapter was disaster. What is disaster? It is any event, any sudden event which causes great damage or devastation. It causes damage not only to the life of the people, but it also destructs the uh, you know structures, the infrastructure of the particular area. It causes the economic setback in the particular area. Here, for if I give the example of this pandemic coronavirus, we all know that since last 1.5 year we are stuck in house. Many of the people have lost their jobs. Many of the people have lost their life. So it is a huge disaster where life, economy, infrastructure is destroyed. It is affected. There is there is a pressure on even the health services or the facilities that have been provided by the government. Any event is considered as a disaster when there is loss of life of people, say for 10 or more than 10 number. Okay, it is declared as the emergency, and the various guidelines are being provided, international help is sought. Okay, all this is done in the condition of disasters. In disasters, we have been mainly focusing on the disaster management. Now, what is disaster management? It is the action implemented through proper planning, organized activity, and coordination for, or which includes prevention of losses and danger. If the predictions are done, if we have prior information, government always tries to see how the loss of life or how the pressure on the infrastructure can be lowered down to reduce the effect of the upcoming disaster. Improving tolerance capacity, providing relief funds for disasters or the victims of the disasters, minimizing the intensity and extent of harm, preparation to face the disasters. As we know, in the case of coronavirus, we are being prepared. Continuous guidelines are being provided. Even if you call anyone, you have the ringtone first telling to uh, conduct the maintaining social distance, sanitizing the hands, wearing the mask, not touching your face, and all these things. You're getting continuous awareness regarding the how to keep yourself safe from the coronavirus, right? Government is also providing vaccination, various centers for quarantine has been developed. Okay, all these things are being developed continuously to lower the effects or the damage that would be caused due to the disaster that is taking place. Rescue work is arranged. Then, after rescuation, rehabilitation is being done for the victims. Then, if the infrastructure is destroyed, rebuilding of the infrastructure is done by the government. So all these things are the part of disaster management. Then whenever there are disasters, there are the people who are victims. They are the people who has these scars of the disasters. Okay, so if, for example, if there are fires, there are people who are burned. If there are blasts, the infrastructure is destroyed. Many people lost their life, and many people are, you know, uh, they are just the victims. They are, we need to save them. Okay, those who are affected. Now, for those people who are not dead in the particular disaster, the first aid is very, very important. Okay, why the first aid is provided? For firstly, for prevention of death. Okay, to prevent the person from dying. Then to prevent the deteriorating health condition. We have saved the person, but the condition of the person might be critical. So the first aid is provided so that the person can be removed out from the criticality to the normal. And then once the person gets normal, rehabilitation of that person is done. So it is very, very important to know about the first aid that is to be provided during any disasters. Now, there are few basic principles for the first aid. First is if the person is suffering from breathing. It is also known as ABC of respiration, wherein A represents the air. This is when the person is suffering from the breathing problem. You have to put the head backward, up, raise the chin so that the air channel gets open and the person gets relaxation in breathing and can breathe normally. If the person has stopped breathing for certain while, it might happen. See, whenever anyone is drowned off in the water, in the river body or in the lake, the water enters into the respiratory system and the person can stop breathing. So first, to save his life, it is very important to make him breathe back. So for that, breathing activity is given. That is mouth to mouth respiration is given. Air is pumped through the mouth so that the breathing channel can be opened and the person can start breathing back. For a while, if the heartbeat of a person is stopped, in that case, CPR is given. Okay, that is cardiopulmonary respiration is done. That is what you can see in this picture. Okay, in this, mouth to mouth respiration is done. That is, the air is blown in the mouth as well as the region in the heart is pushed by the pressure, gentle pressure, so that the if the beat has been struck, it can be start by the little push. Okay, this is repeated alternately for 15 times till the person comes to normal, or else the person is moved to the hospital and set on the ventilators, or even the person may be declared as dead if the heartbeat does not start after the several attempts. Then, if there are sprains, twisting, or contusions of legs or hands or the vertebral column, in that case, RICE remedy is provided. Now, RICE, in which R stands for rest, the person is allowed to rest in a relaxed position. Ice is applied to the injured part, and compression is a gentle massage given to the affected area of the person. And E stands for elevation, where the part which has undergone sprain or contusion, that is raised up so that the person gets little relaxation. Then we have studied about the methods of transporting the victims or the patients. In this, we have seen if the person is children or it is underweight, in that case cradle method, that is picking up the person and taking him to the safer place is done. Then if the person is heavy, in that cases, or the person is unconscious, carrying the piggyback like this can be done, or pulling or lifting method is used to carry the person to the safer place. If the person is conscious and only the leg is affected, in that case human crunch method is carried out, where the hands are put on the shoulder, and then we have to put our hand at the back and help the person to walk to the relaxing place. Then carrying out a four-hand chair. The chair is prepared with the four hands using this technique, and the person is taken, make to sit on the chair, put the hand on the shoulder and carry him to the safer place. If the person is not able to put the hands over the shoulder, then the two hand chair method is used, where only two hands are like jhula is prepared and the person is made to sit in between that. If the person is unconscious or very less energy, then the fire brigade use this method, that is carrying on the shoulder and taking it to the safer place. When there is mass destruction and many peoples are affected, in that cases, if the stretchers are not available, the uh, you know the stretchers are prepared using the bamboo sticks and the blankets or the chaddars that are available, and the person is carried to the hospitals or to the safer place. So this is what we have studied in disaster management. Now, what kind of questions or evaluation you get? See here itself, the question is given how to transport the victims, or as it is given in your exercise, explain with suitable example the care to be taken when using a method of transporting. Now, in these things, you have to write these only. Okay. No need of drawing all these things, but you need to write all these methods of taking the people, carrying out the person with in the point wise manner. So you can just take a screenshot of this slide. The next question that is asked, how is first aid provided to the victim of disaster who are injured? Herein, you have to mention the various methods, like, see, first is the airway, when the person is having difficulty in breathing. Okay, what you have to do, hold the head in backward sloping position and keep the chin up, raise the chin. Then for breathing purpose, artificial respiration, mouth to mouth respiration is done. If the heartbeat has stopped for a while, in that case, mouth to mouth respiration and CPR, that is cardiopulmonary respiration, is done. If the person is bleeding, the wounds are covered with antiseptic pads, applying pressure for 5 minutes. If there are fractures, in that case, the fractured part is tied up using wooden rod or rulers. If there are burns, then the burnt part is to be held under the cold water, okay, for 10 minutes. If there are sprain, twisting and contusion, in that case, first RICE method, RICE, RICE, RICE remedy is given. What is RICE remedy? Now here you have the you have to make the person to have rest. Okay, first rest, apply the ice pack to the injured area, give the gentle massage, and affected area has to be elevated. So all these things have to be done while providing first aid to the disaster victim. Okay, so you can just take the screenshot of this slide to write the answer. I hope you all are taking screenshot of the answers. Next question that is asked is explain with suitable example relationship between weather forecasting and disaster management. Now see how these two topics are interconnected with each other. Weather forecasting is studying the climatic parameters and declaring or predicting the climate. So whenever they are discussing about the air pressure, wind pressure, the predictions about the cyclones or the tornadoes are done, the predictions of heavy rainfall or the tides is done, so that the general people can be made aware that particular situation is going to take place. Okay, hence they go hand in hand. Sorry. Now see, weather forecasting helps in predicting the weather of the particular area for next 2 to 3 days. Any unfavorable change that would occur in near future are predicted by meteorological department. For example, chances of cyclone, dust storms, heavy rainfall, they are informed to the people and required measures are taken. For example, fishermen are alerted by concerned agencies about high rainfall or high tides, and they do not enter the sea during that particular time. So this is the example. Whenever there are, the other example I would give here is if there are cyclonic conditions, the area where the cyclone is been predicted, the people are moved to the safer places so that damage to the life of the people can be lower down. Okay, if there are flood conditions, if the floods are predicted on the prior basis, then again the people can be shifted to the safer places. So this is a part of disaster management. If we know that disaster may occur during a definite period of time, disaster management is really helpful in reducing the loss to the life, property. The disaster management team and the local people can be informed about it and required precautions can be taken. And hence, weather forecasting is or the weather forecasting is very important for disaster management. You all can take screenshot of this answer. Then in short note, you may get principles of first aid. Okay, so just take a screenshot. I have explained this, the ABCs of the principle of first aid, ABCs of rescuation, airway, if the victim is having breathing difficulty, then if the breathing is stopped, mouth to mouth respiration, if the heartbeat has stopped, if the circulation is getting stopped, in that case mouth to mouth respiration and CPR is to be given. So just take a screenshot of this. You have to write all these 3 points in the principles of first aid. And then the last part was solid management. It is a need of our. What have you studied in this is first the classification of solid waste. Okay, based on the sources. Whatever solid waste is coming out from the houses, it is known as domestic waste, like food, paper, plastic, vegetable waste, fruit skin, glass, metal sheets. All this comes under domestic waste. Industrial waste is whatever industrial processing has been carried out, whatever is left out after the formation of product is waste in the industry. So that is known as industrial waste. So in that we have chemicals, pigments, sludges, ash, metals, etc. See, you might get name the following or the match the following of all these things. Then you have farm or garden waste like leaves, branches, flowers, crop residues, animal urine, animal dungs, pesticides. All this comes under the farm waste. Electronic waste is non-functional TV sets, mobile phones that are damaged, music systems, computers, laptops. All these comes under electronic waste. Biomedical waste, that is the waste coming out from the hospitals like bandages, dressing, gloves, needles, saline bottles, medicine bottles, test tubes, body parts of the operated body parts or the dead people, then blood. Okay, all these things which comes out from the clinics or hospitals or blood banks or the laboratories, they are known as biomedical waste. Urban waste, that is the waste generated in the urban areas like cities. Radioactive waste, these are the radioactive material coming out from the radioactive industries. Then the mining, that is after the extraction of metals, whatever waste is been left out, that is known as mining waste, which includes lead, arsenic, cadmium, which gets which gets mixed with the groundwater table, and in long term it has very bad impact like mental retardation or genetic disabnormalities of the people. Then uh, classification of the waste based on the degradation. They are classified as biodegradable and non-degradable. Biodegradable waste is the waste which can be degraded by the microorganisms, like whatever the domestic waste, like food items or the leaves, that is agricultural waste, cow dungs, pesticides, or the dungs of the other animal. All this comes under biodegradable waste, which can be decomposed by the living organisms. Whereas non-biodegradable is where the living organisms or the microorganisms are not able to degrade this for longer period of time. For example, we have plastics, we have metals, we have electronic waste. All these things, they cannot be degraded by the biological uh, agencies, and hence they are classified as non-biodegradable waste. Now, what will happen if all this waste is being disposed haphazardly in the environment? It is definitely going to spread the disease. It affects the biodiversity of the particular area. Then it gives bad odor, it releases toxic gas, it degrades the natural beauty of the particular locality. See, if there is dirt all around your house, will you feel pleasant to live in such area where there is just dirt and all the waste disposed everywhere? Then it causes air pollution, it causes water pollution, it causes soil pollution, which ultimately affects the health of the people, and not only the human, but it also affects the other living organisms and causes disbalance in the biodiversity at overall. Then it is very important to solve this problem with the scientific study. Scientific and eco-friendly waste management is needed. Now, what is done in this? In this, the separation and categorization of waste is very important. As you can see in this picture, the glass things are put in different, plastic things are put in different bin, organic food is put in different, papers is put in different thing, metal items are put, electronics are put in different bins. So all this segregation is done on the waste disposal sites, if we do at household basis, it is responsibility of each and every individual to carry out this segregation so that we can sort out the problem of the solid waste. Okay, whatever is non biodegradable, that can be sent for recycling purpose, whereas the things like organic substances which are biodegradable, they are carried out for the composting purpose, where it is converted into fertilizers and manures which can be utilized for either gardening or for agricultural purposes. So this is very important, that is scientific and eco-friendly study. Then every individual on its own basis and on daily basis has to follow the 7 principles of solid waste management. You have to follow these 7 R's, I would say. First is reuse. Reuse as many materials as you can use. Okay, like you can reuse the bottles, you can reuse the plastic bags. Okay, all these things. Minimize the use. Then you have to refuse. You have to refuse the use of certain non-degradable articles like plastic and thermocol. It is the responsibility of each and every individual citizen of the world to do this. We have to refuse. We have to stop using plastic bottles. You have to find out the other ways like paper bags or cloth bags for that purpose. Recycling, whatever the waste is generated, like paper can be sent for recycling. Then you have plastics which are, can be given to kabadi walas who will carry out this for the recycling purpose. Rethink before buying anything. Do you really need it? If you need it, what will be the consequences? How many days are you going to use that particular thing? You have to rethink for each and every step that you carry out in your body, in your day-to-day life. Reduce, reduce, avoid wastage. Limit your, limit your needs so that you can reduce the solid waste. Then continuous research has to be done, how this material can be reutilized, what can be done, what things can be, which can be utilized for replacing the non biodegradable things. Regulation and public awareness has to be carried out. Hence this topic is been involved in your book so that you all can be made aware about this huge problem of solid waste. You can be made aware about reuse, refuse, recycle, rethink, or reduce the use of non-degradable material. If you can convince your family member, then overall there will be a great change regarding the disposal of solid waste management. Now, the questions that are been asked on this is, see, I have told you, match the following: harmful waste, radioactive material, domestic waste, leftover food, vegetables, and peelings of fruit. Just take a screenshot of this so that you can write it in book. Biomedical waste, bandages, cotton, needles, etc. Industrial waste, chemical pigments, ash, etc. Urban waste, glass, rubber, carry bags, etc. So this kind of match the followings you can get on this topic. Then you have the scientific eco-friendly methods of waste management, in which you have incineration, that is the process of solid waste disposal in which waste is burned at very high temperature, resulting in reduction of weight volume of the waste, decreases the toxicity of hazardous components in the waste, and it is preferred for the disposal of biomedical waste. Then you have landfill sites where the solid wastes are disposed. Large dug out which are used to dump the waste. They are known as landfills. They are converted in playgrounds or parks. If you know, in Sion there is an eco-friendly park which has been developed on such a landfill area. which was first used as dumping ground. Now the NGOs has come forward and carried out plantation in that area, and very good park is been developed in that particular area. Then you have pyrolysis, in which chemical decomposition of solid waste is carried out under high pressure. Okay, then composting. In this method, organic matter is being disposed, where they are converted into the manure and fertilizer, which are utilized for gardening and all. Then again, the biodegradable waste can be used for vermicomposting, where with the use of the earthworms and the other microorganisms, the kitchen waste is converted. Nowadays, in very big societies, vermicomposting plants are being developed where the kitchen waste is collected and the vermicompost is prepared, which is used for gardens of that particular area. So these are the eco-friendly methods for solid waste management. Then you have why is e-waste harmful? Express your opinion on this. Here you can just take the screenshot of this. E-waste refers to the electronic waste that includes old and discarded electric appliances such as computer, TVs, refrigerators, cell phones, electronic toys, batteries, etc. Most of the electronic waste are generated in cities. However, due to faster rate of development and improved lifestyle, now small towns and villages are also contributing to e-waste generation. E-waste are very dangerous and polluting as they contain many harmful substances like plastic, lead, cadmium, mercury, which is non-biodegradable, and after several years, it also has this life-threatening diseases, including cancers. Harmful metals can enter the food chain, resulting into bioaccumulation. Then you have how will you register individual your participation in solid waste management. In this, solid waste management can also be practiced at individual level, segregating the waste into kitchen degradable and non-degradable waste. Okay, whatever the kitchen waste, it can be put into the degradable waste, and the other electronic waste can be sought out as non-degradable and it can be disposed of. So just take the screenshot of this so that you can write. Things which cannot be reused and recycled can be considered as waste. We should also try to use less plastic bags, more jute bags or the cloth bags. Then use
Hello.
of disposable
Excuse me,
products
miss.
should be avoided. Yes.
Actually, we have exceeded the time.
Sir, okay,
It is
matlab this questions are left. They can just take the screenshot
because
and we can stop.
the next teacher is waiting for it, na?
So this
Hello.
is the last lecture, na?
Okay, okay, last lecture. Okay, okay. Then we have to wind up, no?
Yes, yes.
Okay, please.
Student, I will just request you to take the screenshot of this so that you can write the answers. Okay, this is the last question, difference between degradable and non-degradable waste. Just take the screenshot and you can write it. As we have discussed all this, these are just the evaluation part that you will get on this portion. By this, I thank you all for listening to the lecture quietly. That's all, sir. Yes, sir. We can end the lecture now. Hello, sir.
Yes, teacher.
Sir, we can end the lecture.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes. एक सेकंड में वाला लेक्चर वाइंड अप करो.